Welcome back to Nikki's Scrapbooking Adventures. There is a new collection out called Spectrum Sherbet by 49 & Market, and it is gorgeous. I have the wantsies really bad. I want the entire collection, all the 6x8 pads, all 3 paper packs, all of the ephemera. I just want it all. I just want it all. But today, I don't want to spend all that money. I just don't. Especially when I look at this and I know 49 & Market and they have fantastic paperweight. Oh my goodness, like fantastic. It is the thickest paper that is out there on the market. It is the best. I mean, hands down, I really like their stuff. And I love that they come out with rub-ons. Like, nobody does that anymore. And their rub-ons make mixed media look easy. Because they have things like this, where it looks like stamping. And it's just a rub-on. It's so fun. So fun. Whew. I don't know. Everybody's going, I'm going crazy about this collection. But then I looked at some of these patterns, okay? So there's a solids kit where it's literally just the color, okay? And then they've got a thing here with a circle, and they've got some splashes of color, a pinwheel looking thing, butterflies, layered paper. And I'm thinking, I can make that. I can 100% make that. I've been dreaming about making this collection. So today that's kind of what we're going to do. We're going to make our own Spectrum Sherbet. I don't know how you say it. Whatever. I'm going to make my own version. And you know what all you need is? Paper, a brush, Distress Oxide inks. So, I've pulled the Distress Oxide inks that I am going to use here to make my Spectrum rainbow. So, I've got Firebrick Red, Spiced Marmalade, Squeezed Lemonade, Cracked Pistachio, Broken China, and Faded Jeans. Okay, so Nikki, how do we start? Well, you start with a 12x12 paper. Ideally it's 110 pound because you are going to be adding water to this paper. This is actually 12 by 11 3/4 because this comes out of one of the Hobby Lobby post-bound albums. So this is, I mean, this is probably between 65 and 110. It's probably 65, more towards that. And I'm just going to use this paper too. I'm going to show you kind of what I've made already. Because I just kind of was experimenting, see what I could do, you know. You don't know until you try. This is an example of something I did before I chose my colors. But inspired by this piece of paper right here. This is on 110 pound cardstock. It is a little warped. It's going to warp when you add water. That's just the reality of things. But look at how fun that is. So what I did is I took my colors and I went in a windmill motion. And then I took a stencil to give it a little extra texture. And then on top of that, I took a stamp. How fun is that? Now, these are not the colors that I'm going to be using today, but I thought I would show you how you can get inspiration from a piece and make your own. Isn't that fun? I think it's fun. I had a lot of fun making it, and I think it turned out great. So here are a couple other things that I have created. Now, I gessoed first on these because I'd never used gesso before. I was like, I'm just gonna try it, right? So I used a brush and I put gesso on this and let it dry overnight. Just one of these brushes, put some gesso all on my paper. And that is how I got these really cool streaks in this paper. Isn't that awesome? I think it is. I love this. So it's the Firebrick Red, Spice Marmalade, and then the Squeeze Lemonade. Now, I didn't clean my brush between, so that's why the red kind of goes through all the way down to the bottom. I noticed that this yellow was more towards the orange color, so what I ended up doing is after this piece had dried with the color on it, I went back in and put some Squeeze Lemonade on top more to make it a little bit brighter. Whoops. Don't touch it with a wet brush, duh. Okay, so isn't that fun? That kind of looks like this one. Maybe turn it upside down. Isn't that great? And it's got a really cool texture to it. I think that's probably my favorite part. Okay. Next piece is this one, and I did the exact same thing. I used, look at the texture on the outside of this. I think that's the coolest part. I have no idea how I did it. I think it's probably because of the gesso underneath that's clear. It is clear gesso. And this is the other half of my rainbow, the cool tones. So I've got, going this way, green, the bundled sage, cracked pistachio, broken china, and faded jeans. And I ended up painting it from darkest to lightest so that I knew the colors could move through each other. Isn't that fun? Oh, I just love this. I absolutely love how this turned out. It's not the same. I mean, it's just not going to be because this is something that I created based on the inspiration of this piece of paper right here. Okay. Next one that I've created is this one right here. Okay. So I used, whoops, excuse me, all of my colors this time to create a rainbow effect down the middle. No gesso, ink, water, paper. That's it. Ink, water, paper. And I came up with this really cool design. Now, I had a little spot right here. So I had to kind of try to cover it up, you know, it didn't really work. But then I was like, oh, I kind of like that. So I added the colors at the bottom. Not washing my brush between colors. That is key in this kind of thing. I did not wash my brush between colors. I did go back over the yellow. I feel like you kind of always have to do that. Okay, so no gesso, just ink, water, and paper. I'm no artist, but look at, I can make this. They've added texture and all that kind of stuff. I don't feel like I need to because I got what I wanted, right? This paper is pretty much the same thing, just flipped. Okay, so we've made this one, this one, this one, and this one. I'm going to skip this. I don't, because I can easily replicate if I really want to, but I don't want to. Moving on. So I know that I want a die cut. And one of the, to get these. I know I want a die cut. So I'm taking that 12 by 11/75, I don't know why I want to call it that, 11.75 paper and water, ink, and paper, no gesso. I was able to create this background. I simply took my ink on my glass mat, added water, and went back and forth. So that's my red. There's my orange. And this is all orange, no yellow. So what happens is you get a lot of pigment at the top, but as you run out of pigment, the color gets lighter and lighter and lighter, and I let it do that in this case. Then I splattered some water on top and wiped it up to get those cool effect. Here's the yellow. Okay, that is the Squeeze Lemonade. That is why I went back over those pieces. Here's the yellow. So you get a kind of difference. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and do this for all of the colors. We're going to do one together today because this is super easy and I just want to show you how easy this is. Okay, here's the bundled sage, the cracked pistachio, and the broken glass. Now, this is not intentional. This is the paper doing this. I don't know why it's doing that. But if you leave the streaks in, you get some extra texture. Now these aren't all the way dry yet, so I do need to go set them back down and dry. I mean, this took me, what? Not even 30 minutes to get a full palette of colors and really cool backgrounds. And I'm going to use these for die cutting, because I know I have pretty much everything that's here. So the last color I have to do is the faded jeans. We're going to go ahead and do that ourselves together. So this is that 11 3/4 by 12 piece of paper that came out of a Hobby Lobby paper pad. My brush is semi-clean. I just used water on my baby cloth to clean it. Get all that fun color. Isn't that fun? Okay. Using my glass mat, I'm going to lay out my color. And then I'm going to do a couple little swatches down here because I don't think I really want this one to fade too much. And you'll see why I need this in just a minute. So I'm going to add some water. And then I'm just going to brush in all of the color into that water. Okay, get both sides, and I'm just going to go back and forth. Once I feel like I've run out of color, I just go grab some more. Isn't this a fun? Today it's kind of windy and it's supposed to storm tonight. Hubby wants to do a cookout, and I don't think that's going to happen. No. See how it's already kind of starting to fade? It was the darkest up here, kind of almost a purple, right? But as we have less and less pigment, it kind of fades. And this is how I got those extra colors from that orange one specifically. I just kept adding water to this over here, and look how it lightens the color. Now, instead of purple blue, we're getting kind of a gray blue. Isn't that interesting? Now I don't really want that, so that's why I have my second pad of color here. Add some water, and we just keep going. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So this is exactly what I did with my gesso. This is exactly what I did with the paint color on top of the gesso. I just kept going back and forth. And I got that really cool texture on those. Okay. If you feel like you need more color, you can swipe some from different areas. All right, look at, I can grab all that color there. I can also just add more color to my glass mat. Why not, right? So I'm gonna add some more splotches of color over here. Add water, because I want this to be super deep blue. Look at that, that's pretty. And the color variation, you can definitely keep it, right? Make sure die cuts look even better. Oh my goodness, I can't keep it still. Adding some water to my paintbrush to get as much ink and everything up, because I want that not to be super light. Oh, here we go. Here's a good swatch of ink. Okay. And there is the Faded Jeans color. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. Now, if you really wanted to do some crazy variety, what you could do is let that dry and then go over it with another color or splatter it with another color, all sorts of stuff, fun stuff. Again, glass mats are awesome because I get my brush wet, clean it. I don't know why I clean my brush first, but you just do. And then you add water to all your ink and you can wipe it right up. And it doesn't take too long to dry. You do have to give it a little bit, especially because this thing is soaked. It's like heavy. So, and that, my friends, are all my solid colors.